some partially questionable things that I've done to grow as a videographer financially and creatively. My first point, for those of you who don't know, I'm a freelance filmmaker, directing DP, and I've been making videos for the past 10 years. I've been making advertisement films over the past 5 years in Germany and have just finished shooting a project for Amazon Prime, doing all of the social media content for that, slowly but surely pivoting my way out of social content to bigger and better things. I've shot a few global campaigns this year, pivoting more towards cars, hopefully doing more narrative things now that I'm back in the UK. This video I shared on Instagram and it got about 400,000 views, so I'm going to sort of elaborate on this now. The first point is that I delegated work to a freelance editor in South Africa. This meant that I could have larger margins and I could grow my business and I could take on more risks, I could earn more money, and I could also take on more passion projects because I would go into the direction that I actually wanted to instead of just having to take the next job. Obviously, some people might think, why not pay someone in Germany or in the UK? Well, to be perfectly honest, the guy that I hired was an absolute machine and he's a legend. David, I love you. He charged a very competitive rate. I ended up paying him the same rates almost as German editors by the end of our sort of few years working together. He was also just incredible. So the great thing also was that he was on the same time zone as me. I was in Germany and they're on the same time zone, so there wasn't like a massive delay. And all I had to do was upload proxies and we would communicate everything via WhatsApp. And yeah, he just got me. And I was very lucky with that. He got me, he got my style, and he was really open, had no ego, extremely integral, great at communicating, and David is a machine. This allowed me to essentially still edit projects whilst there were quieter months when I wasn't shooting as well. I could position myself as an agency doing edits also, and I would edit projects for other people and hand those off to David if anything got overwhelming, or I could also just take on a project and be like, hey, you work on this while I go and shoot this. It was extremely supportive. Second point would be I only took on projects that reached my minimum level of engagement, my MLE. At the time it was 1,500 euros. And this is a weird thing, but for those of you who don't know, an MLE is essentially the minimum amount of money that you would take to shoot a project or get a project going. And I set that as 1,500 euros per day for shooting. When projects were below that, what it would allow me to do is to push for that higher rate. So I would, say 1,500, they'd say, hey, we've got 1,100. And then I'd just be like, hey, my rate is 1,500. Can you guys do it? And oftentimes they'd be like, okay, we'll find a way. And this helped me push for more prices. It helped me position myself in the market better because I was charging more, so I wasn't perceived as a low paid creator, and this just helped my career and my direction enormously. So sticking to an MLE, how you calculate that, essentially take your monthly minimum expenses and figure out how much that it costs for you to live. Let's say it costs you $3,000 each month that you have to live for your rent, blah, blah, blah. And then figure out how many projects you need to shoot. You can shoot 10 projects at 300 euros to make $3,000, which is very, very unlikely just from my experience. Or you could shoot 2 projects at 1,500 and you can make your $3,000. Obviously, that's not factoring in tax. In brief, it forced me to push my prices. I'm quite a spiritual person, but I really believe in your level of self-worth and self-belief is reflected back to you from the physical world. Number 3 would be that I plowed most of my earnings back into my business. I bought cameras, I invested in things, FX3, FX6, so that I could shoot more projects and charge more on projects. And I put my earnings back into courses, into learning more and more and more. I also spent a bunch of money on useless shit. However, that's changing a bit more now that I have a son who's just like casually over there starting to walk. But yeah, maybe that's not so uncommon, but I definitely didn't really save anything. I just put it all into learning and even into like passion projects. There would be projects where I had a commercial and I would put my own money in to get like a lens and a slider or something just for like one shot because I really wanted it like that. Even though the producer was like, hey, it doesn't make sense to do that. I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to throw my money in and I'm going to use this and that because I wanted to get that. Because guess what happens then is you create that shot and you have something that you're excited about and proud of, and you've tried something, you've learned something, and then on your next project it becomes so easy and it's a walk in the park, it's on autopilot, you know how it's done, you don't feel nervous about it. And I'm really one for reducing like risk in terms of like projects, and I also feel like what happens there also is you share that work more because you're more excited about that shot. And so when you share work more, other people see it and they can feel that you're excited about it, and then maybe they request you because they're like, oh, I really like this project because I had those like types of shots. This is fucked up. I basically said no to all engagements outside of work. I didn't meet up with anybody friends-wise. Fortunately, in the film world, we're working with a lot of friends anyways, and people who I like working with, but I really said no to anything social-wise that didn't really benefit my work, and this focus really led to me excelling, I'd say. I even neglected my health. I wouldn't advise that. I didn't really go to the gym. I didn't really work out much. I just worked. But that really gave a large amount of focus and accelerated me to another level, I'd say. Again, don't do do this, be more sustainable, but it was something done out of necessity due to my conditions at the time of needing to earn money. My next thing would be is that I started to make content. I started to make reels. I started to make things to promote my work instead of just making a project and praying somebody sees it. And I started to do that semi-consistently. This really led to more inbound requests, and it meant that I got more opportunities and positioned me more as a premium creator instead of just being some random guy with 1,000 followers. As shitty as it sounds, having a bit of a social presence does help me a lot. However, I have my friend and mentor who has 2,000, 3,000 followers, and he's pulling in like more than 500,000 a year. So it's not all about followers, obviously, but for my case, it did help me. This also led to not just work, but it meant that other creators wanted to connect, and that was still the most rewarding thing about all of this, is that I get to work with other people who I like and just connect with people on that level, on a level more than just work, like on a personal level, and meet and work with people all around the world. That's been the biggest gift from externalizing my work, putting myself out there, even though it's scary at first. But yeah, it's been, again, net positive compared to net negative. Anyways, I hope this has helped you and has helped elaborate on some of those points. Have a lovely day. Take it easy. Ciao.